I recently turned 30, and I have always, all my life, been one of those people on their birthday that honestly really struggled, like cry myself to sleep every year, reflect a lot, have a lot of sadness in my heart, a lot of heaviness on my birthday. But this year, I can honestly say I have had just the best year. I really do believe that from the age of 7 to around 28 is really just this process, this continuous process of like learning and unlearning things. And that's really what I felt like my 20s were primarily, is just constant like learning and unlearning, constantly trying to deconstruct things that I've been told, constantly trying to rewire myself and learn who I am and embrace my authentic self and honestly just really love myself. And so I wanted to make a video today where I share just 30 little lessons that I've learned, not to make them super, super long, but just to share some little things that I've learned along the way. I'm gonna try to make it short, but if it's not, I apologize in advance. We are starting off strong with probably the very first lesson that you do learn in life, is that your family is divinely chosen. And I say this because I spent a lot of time wondering why, I have the family that I do and that other people had the family that they do. And there was a lot of just constant growing up comparison. Really, when you get down to it, your soul purposely chose these people to be in your life. And your family is supposed to be the ones that trigger you the most in life. And they also mold you into who you are based off of their own beliefs and their own thought process and how they grew up with their family. There's a reason behind everything, and your family is your family for a reason. Next is everyone in the world is dealing with their own shit. I spent a long time thinking, like, similar to the family situation, is like, why does this person have this life and why do I have this life? And I had to really come to a process of just like accepting my life for what it is and understanding that not everyone's life is perfect. What you see on social media isn't always the case, but regardless, everyone's going through something that we know nothing about. So that's why it's also important to be kind and be generous to people. And with that being said, it is important to remember that not everyone in your life is meant to be there forever. You are not supposed to have the same friends forever. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, and that's okay. There are seasons and there are reasons for people in our life, and life is supposed to be up and down. It's not supposed to be the same. And with that happening, with the changing of seasons, with how our life changes and the challenges and obstacles that we face and the lessons that we integrate, people come and people go, and that's okay. With coming and going, it's also very, very important to recognize when it is your time to leave. That is a lesson that I spent a long time not actually learning. Recognize when it's time to leave. They say, the grass isn't always greener on the other side, but sometimes it actually is. Sometimes the grass is greener on the other side, and it's your responsibility to get to the other side. You can't sometimes spend your whole life in the same environment, watering the same grass, waiting for it to grow, when really you are supposed to move. Next is, if you don't chase what you want will constantly be chasing you. I saw this a lot in my life growing up, especially in my 20s, is constantly running away from things that I knew that I wanted and desired, but being too afraid to pursue them. And I noticed that the universe will send you constantly little tiny clues everywhere you go to remind you, hey, you want this. It'll be like either a little voice in your head, or sometimes you'll notice like other times people will achieve something that you desire, or they'll get that goal that you've been desiring, or they'll manifest something that you've been wanting. And that's usually a sign from spirit, from the universe, that what you want is still achievable. And so if you're not chasing it, it is going to constantly be following you until you choose to pursue it. Next is very simple. You will be incredibly miserable if you constantly are putting people before you. If you're constantly putting yourself last, you're always going to be last and you're going to be miserable. Next is one that I literally to this day have to constantly remind myself, and this is one that we all always forget because we overthink things and we really get in our mind, but everyone is not always thinking about you. Not everything is about you. Not everyone is always thinking about you. Like I said earlier, everyone also has their own shit going on. And so they're not sitting around constantly thinking about you. You might think that people are constantly sitting around thinking about you, but 9 times out of 10, they're not. They have their own shit going on, their own reality, their own perception, their own like lens and filter of what's happening in their world. And that's usually what's happening. Next is, whatever you look for in life, you will find. And that goes for any area of your life. If you look for people to be mean to you, you're going to find people to be mean to you. If you look for reasons to not pursue something, you'll find reasons to not pursue something. Alternately, if you look for the good in people, you will find the good in people. Whatever you are constantly looking for, you will find. So look for the good. Next is your job does not have to be your purpose. We constantly try to put our worth and our purpose into a job, into a career field, into how we can make money. But that is entirely like so separate from who you are as a person. Your purpose is not found within your job. And piggybacking off of that, never, ever, ever chase a job based off of how you feel other people will perceive you. If you are I did this a lot in my early 20s. I constantly was like pursuing jobs because I was like, this looks good on paper. My parents will be proud of me for doing this. I look good for doing this. Nope, 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 nope. Just because it looks good on paper does not mean it's going to feel good in here. And with feeling good in here, just reiterates the fact that you need to lean into your authenticity every single day, because at the end of the day, no matter what happens, no matter what you have on paper, no matter what job you go to, your friends, at the end of the day, you still come home to yourself. Establish your own hobbies, establish your own routines, establish your own likes and interests and disinterests, everything, your music tastes. Stay authentic to yourself. With that being said, there are a lot of trends that are going to be happening constantly. Every single day we see a new trend. Your body is not a trend. I'm going to say that again. Your body is not a trend. I see this all the time on the internet, and it's honestly so disheartening to see, is the fact that we let women's bodies become trending. It's trending to look like this. It's trending to have this shape. You chose this body for a reason, and you need to love every single piece of that, because you chose everything down to where specific moles are, down to your freckles, down to the way that your teeth are set in your mouth. You chose that for a reason, and you are going to have this body forever. It is not a trend, and you need to love it the entire journey through. And with that being said, next lesson is a very important one, is that your body will change as you get older, and you need to love that. You need to love the changes. And I don't mean this to say that you are going to look older or you're going to gain weight or lose weight or whatever, because I actually don't believe that. I just believe that as you get older, your body changes because you start to change. As you change, your body will reflect whatever change you are going through. It is not supposed to be just like life. Your body is not supposed to be the same forever, because we go through changes and challenges in our life. But loving your body on every single journey is going to honestly change your life. And with that being said, the relationship that you have with yourself determines the relationship that you have with everyone. So how you feel about yourself is how everyone is going to treat you. When you love yourself, that is when you find love within relationships. When you commit to yourself, that is when you seek commitment from other people. And with that being said, other people's opinions of you literally do not matter. Now, the only reason their opinion of you is going to matter is if you feel that you are being affected by it. If it triggers you, if it affects you, that's when it starts to matter, because that means that you are resonating with some aspect of what they think of you, and then that's when that needs to be addressed. But regardless, end of the day, other people's opinions literally do not matter, because it's their filter of reality that's determining how they feel about you. Next was a really hard lesson for me to integrate. If you need something in life, you need to ask for it, because a closed mouth never gets fed. It's honestly, it takes more effort to not ask for help than it does to actually ask for the help. Next is to make decisions that scare the hell out of you. In 3 to 5 years, you honestly are not going to recognize yourself. And it is supposed to be like that. If you actually do recognize yourself in 3 to 5 years, you're doing something wrong. That means you're not growing. But you should be making decisions every single day that are scary, that are new, that are different. That's how you also change the matrix and change your life. I need you to listen up. If you see a red flag in someone, you need to learn how to recognize it and learn when to walk away. I know that I spoke earlier about walking away, but I did not specify about red flags. Red flags, you see it, walk away, don't look back, because that is how you end up in, how do you say, situationship. Because at the end of the day, you have standards. You know what they are. Subconsciously, you know when someone is right or wrong for you. You have an intuition for a reason. Recognize the red flags, walk away, don't look back. Next is one that I learned at a very, very young age, and I'm honestly so thankful for my mother for instilling this within me, but that is that the universe will always provide a way out of any struggle or any challenge that you face. I grew up with hearing the words, God will always provide, God always provides, God always provides. And as I got older, it's just something that's always been integrated into me, is that the universe is always going to support me. I'm always going to be supported. I'm always divinely supported. Just having that belief system and knowing that everything is going to work out for you, I promise you, everything always does. Like I said earlier, what you look for, you will find. The universe will show you. Next, with your relationships, your time and your energy are incredibly valuable, and you need to make that known to other people. So this just means that you should establish your boundaries. You should not jump at any moment when someone needs something from you, when someone wants to hang out and you're not really feeling like it. If you make yourself too available sometimes to people, then that leads to you being taken advantage of. Next, putting down other people only diminishes your beauty. When you speak about other people, you are speaking about yourself. Remember that your words are like little tiny spells over your life. Your health should always, always, always be a priority for you. Your mental health, your spiritual health, your physical health, your emotional health. Putting yourself last is selfish. Remember to put yourself first. Your health is always going to be a guiding light. And I will say that your physical health is always going to be a physical manifestation of things that are happening on internally. So it's important to set aside time for yourself and take care of yourself, because if you're not taking care of yourself spiritually or emotionally or allowing yourself to feel, your body produces physical ailments that reflect that. And sometimes your body will physically shut itself down if you are not taking the time and care that you need to take care of yourself. Next, get used to asking yourself questions. Tony Robbins always says that if you want to change your life, change the quality of the questions that you ask yourself. This is like asking yourself, why do I think that way? Why do I believe this to be true? Why is this happening to me? Get yourself used to asking all kinds of questions about your life. With that being said, next one is very important too, is to question everything else too. Don't take everything that you read on the internet as truth. Don't take everything that your friends or your family tells you as truth. Don't take everything that the outside world tries to push onto you as truth. Next is my most recent favorite one, is to romanticize your life as often as possible. I have been honestly trying to do this a lot lately because I feel like it puts me into like a more feminine energy. I feel like it puts me into a state of gratitude and presence. It's more of just like not necessarily making an aesthetic for things, but really just like making yourself a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and sitting down and saying, wow, I get to do this. It's really just like seeing the good in everything. It's having little quiet moments to yourself and really enjoying them. It's sitting beneath a tree, sitting in nature, really just loving your life where it is. My camera died. And next on the agenda, you can start over as many times as you want or as many times as you need. I have started my life over 1,000 times. You can sell everything you own and move if you want, move across the country, move out of the country, do whatever you desire. There is no timeline that you are living on that you are supposed to stick to, and you have free will. You can do whatever you want. Next is the more time that you spend online, the more you will lose yourself. 80% of your thoughts, I think it's like 80%. I don't know, I heard this statistic the other day, but 80% of the thoughts, I believe, are not actually your own. 80% of the thoughts are thoughts that have come from content you consume, people that you are around, music that you listen to, etc., etc. The prime example of this is when you start to crave something that you've never actually eaten before. When you disconnect, you reconnect with yourself, and organic thoughts actually start to filter through. Next, recognize when you are playing the victim card. Your ability to recognize the role that you play in your own suffering is going to change your life. I spent a lot of time saying, why did this happen to me? Why was I born this way? Blaming everything else in the external world except for taking it for myself. We see this all the time though in reality, like blaming our zodiac sign. Really, when you can take your power back by saying, you know what? I created this reality and I am not going to be a victim of it, that will change your life. And next to last, this one is a super fun one, but some people are going to disagree. Not everything in your life needs preparation. And I say that because I spent a lot of time in my 20s withholding myself from opportunities and experiences because I felt like I had to be more prepared. I felt like I had to have a plan. I felt like I honestly had to have it all figured out. Really, we forget that when we just make the move, the resources will come to us. When we make the move with faith, the resources will come. And I promise you, and that goes back to me starting my life over so many times in my life, everything's always worked itself out because 9 times out of 10, I don't usually have a plan, but it always works itself out. And there are, of course, situations and circumstances where you do need a plan and you do need preparation. But I will tell you that it is way better to just go for what you want to do, to just make the action than to sit around and wait for the action to come to you, because the action's not going to come to you. You have to take the inspired action, and you don't have to have it all figured out. You can figure it out along the way. And last but not least, I want to leave you with this, is that life is really not that serious. I spent so much of my youth thinking that life was so serious and I was so rigid and so hard on myself, not remembering that we are really here to just experience life. It is really just important for you to enjoy the process, for you to love yourself, to not sit on the sidelines, and to not leave yourself out. Be the main character of your life. Romanticize your life. Go after what you desire and stop caring what other people think, because it's really not that serious around here. I feel like as I get older, life just gets more sweeter. Life just gets more beautiful and more juicy and more delicious, and I feel like I'm really at a place now where I do love my life. I do value my life. I do value myself. And if there is anything I could tell my 20-year-old self, it would be to just not take it so serious. Just love the process that you're on, because honestly, nobody at any age has anything figured out, and that's okay. You're not supposed to have it figured out. You're really just supposed to enjoy yourself while you're here. I hope that you are loving your life and you're loving where you are. When I look back now, things seemed really, really simple back then, and they seem to just keep getting harder and more challenging as I grow up, but I think that's a part of the process of unlearning, but it is a beautiful process nonetheless. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you soon. Bye.